I like it when things are quiet.
Sly bastard. No one else could have pulled off something like that. You won't hear me complaining, that's for sure. Brandon finally broke the decades-old crust that had grown over this place. Nothing thrives in stagnation, least of all trade. Now, this place might finally get a bit livelier. Personally, I can't wait to see where this goes.
Brendan's back, eh? Good man, that one. Always knows how to lift the mug and morale. The Dariasa know how to fight and how to drink. Two things this place could use more of. If Brendan's leading the charge, I'll raise a glass to that.
Please, stay. Dragon knows they'll read the dogs back here? Oh, I'm not sticking around to see how that ends. Let someone else get their throat slit. Go, the hunter waits.
Sometimes it's nice to just sit and think. How did you, oh, forget it. I don't even want to know. Just give me a moment. Here. That should do it. Do whatever you need to if you're really sure about this. But please try to come back alive. I have nothing to tell you. I could try to talk you out of it, but I'm guessing that wouldn't work.
Did you hear? Looks like we've taken in some new refugees. This time, from the Forlorn Swords. Imagine that! The Del Reader, seeking shelter within our walls. And good for them. As far as I'm concerned, the Horns of the South can be a home for anyone. Captain Seamus is one hell of a good man. Hmm? Aye. Whatever. Go on then.
What do you want? Didn't expect to see you here again. You'll see the
Ah, that's you. Do you need something? Brendan bringing the Dalrita here. It's not my place to question a captain's decisions, but this undermines everything we've fought for. If he's made a deal with them, I can only hope it's worth the risk to the keep. And to our honor. No. Please, try not to make my life harder.
The people here don't... I met a few Dalriata back in the day. Decent fellows with a keen eye for good leatherwork, as far as I recall. In my experience, as long as you don't mouth off to them, they'll leave you be.
I heard that the Dalriada had taken over the keep. I'm not sure what to make of it. I just hope they'll let us stay the way we are.
Sometimes it seems like Cole reacts when I say his name.
The sun doesn't rise the same. I heard that keeper got better. Those tribal folk, eh? I don't know, it feels a bit strange. But on the other hand, Frang's a good boy. Maybe they've got a bit of sense after all. and it won't be so bad.
Well, looks like the enemy's here, and I'm not talking about the Dalriata.
Cole in the cage for the rest of his life. Das is no living. Brandon's back. Freng knew the Dalrida would rise stronger with him leading. Brandon's no fool. He'll make sure the Dalrida stand tall against Camelot. Freng sees it now. The Dalrida will reclaim everything Camelot tried to take.
Nothing changes. Nothing ever will.
Feels like a weight's been...
As for me, I couldn't care less, to be honest. What matters is that I still have someone to pour ale for. And I just hope the Dalriata won't wreck my tavern. Other than that, things will be fine. The locals might grumble for a while, but eventually, the best pint in the south will bring them back here.
Well, bloody brilliant. More outsiders. I might as well just die already. There's nothing left for a man in his place. Dalriada, for crying out loud. What was that old bastard even thinking?
Well...
dares disturb my peace? You made an oath never to summon me again. Excalibur. Wait. Is it really you? You, who come from a time beyond. Show yourself before me.
It seems he speaks to me. Allow me to answer him.
Welcome, old friend.
I can see that you know me, but I am a mere shadow of my true self. I don't remember you, Lord of the Seas. Forgive me.
That's what you told me, my friend. The next time we see each other, you will not remember me. But you are here now. The will and the power led you back to this place. Even in this incomplete form.
Where should I look for myself? I wish to restore Avalon to its former glory, yet I don't know how.
Avalon's fate has never rested upon one person alone, not even one as great as King Arthur. Yet here you are, trying again, restless and eager to take the responsibility again. I salute you, my friend.
Tell me what I must do to be worthy to lead Avalon once more. I do not think I have the strength.
Your path is true. Seek wholeness, and Avalon will reveal what it needs from you. And yes, you need to touch Excalibur.
Thank you, my friend.
And you, mortal. You have given yourself to the King's service. You are worthy of a place among the keepers of the South. Arthur, take out your sword and fear no failure. It is yours to take. It always was. I deem you worthy, my friend. The promise I gave thy mother is fulfilled, and thus our pact is ended. You know where to look for your soul. Trust yourself, and when you reach your journey's end, I trust you will make the right choice.
Yes, it seems we knew each other well during the war. And this proves that I sought allies beyond our own forces. And I trusted him enough to carry the knowledge of Excalibur. This must count for something.
his will, the fire that bends the world to his command. I am the blade that shapes kings and shatters tyrants.
Enough, Merlin. You can't keep throwing lives into this abyss. These experiments, they're destroying what remains of us.
Destroying us? They're what's keeping us alive. Do you think the Four Dwellers will stop for pity or mercy? Every soul we lose here saves 10 more on the battlefield. You told me to do this. You sanctioned this. And I'm close to getting it right. I know it.
No, we can't justify this. There's no victory worth such a cost.
You know full well, Arthur, that this isn't about victory. It's about survival. If we don't push these boundaries, there will be no future for your kingdom, for Avalon. You dream of peace, but without victory, there will be no peace to dream of. The path ahead is brutal, but if we relent now, we lose everything.
And yet we keep losing people and gaining nothing in return. We must change the path.
They volunteered for this.
They volunteered to save our kingdom, and you've gotten no closer to doing it. Their sacrifices cannot be in vain, Merlin. Find another way. Use your mind, your wisdom. Leave this slaughterhouse you've created behind.
A different way. That will take time, and resources we may not have. The enemy won't wait.
They will if I make them. Whatever it takes, I will buy you that time. Find me a weapon that wins this war without annihilating what we fight to protect.
Whatever it takes.
Yes. Let it be known that it was my decision, and I will bear the consequences of it.
Oh no, my king. People can never know. It was all my idea, and you knew nothing about it. All of us have our role to play. You are the leader, and they need to love you. If we win, you need to become more than a man. You need to become a symbol.
Merlin saw Avalon for what it was long before the rest of us. He told me that Tintagel wouldn't hold, not forever. That the weirdness would gnaw at our walls, at our minds, at our very bones, until nothing human remained. But he still fought to map a way forward, to carve some sense into this land. And in the end, the land swallowed him whole anyway. We were losing the battle at Tuathan's mouth.
Our last push before the weirdness took the field. Merlin was with us, bleeding, exhausted, but still weaving his spells. Then it came. Not a beast, not a man, not something we ever had words for. A shadow wearing 1,000 torn banners, moving like it had no shape of its own. Merlin raised his staff, spoke a name I didn't recognize. And then he was gone. Not killed, not struck down, just gone. Like the land itself had taken him back. Now, I remember. Before you judge me, it all seems so obvious now, doesn't it? The right thing to do. It wasn't back then, and you can trust me on that. We were on the brink of losing the war, and wars aren't won with wishful thinking. There was no clean path, no noble answer. Only the weight of reality pressing down on our necks. Something had to be done, or everything we fought for would have been in vain. And in the end, the ones who stepped forward, who chose to pay the price, made it possible. And their deaths gave Merlin the knowledge he needed to finish his work. To find something that could really turn the tide in our favor. Justified? No. Justification is for those who have the luxury of doubt. And I had a kingdom to save. They were brave men who volunteered their lives, just as they did every time we rode onto the battlefield. The difference was that if Merlin succeeded, one man's sacrifice could have saved us all, could have ended the war before more blood was spilled. If sacrificing a few meant the survival of all, then there was no choice at all. Maybe they never saw justice. Maybe their real stories were erased from history. Call it cruelty. Call it madness. But if I'd done nothing, there would be no Avalon left to argue over. But the kingdom still stands. The people live, and that has to mean something. I did. But this wasn't about pride. It wasn't about saving face. It was about survival. The truth about all this would have broken my people. I couldn't allow that. And a king doesn't get to flinch. If that meant carrying the weight alone, so be it. I would make that choice again if I had to. I told him to stop the experiments on our men, but to keep going. And he did. He started experimenting on the Four Dwellers. The enemy. If their bodies could be broken down, their power turned against them, wasn't that their own doing? Wasn't that fair? So he figured out how to twist the Four Dwellers' power into something we could wield. I told him to conquer the weirdness, and in the end, he did. He found a way to make me stronger, stronger than any man had the right to be. It wasn't just magic. It was something deeper, older. A force that reshaped me. And with it, we won. The war ended. Avalon was ours. The bloodshed stopped, the banners were raised, and the kingdom stood safe. That's the question, isn't it? I keep thinking about Seawall. He was ready to pay the ultimate price for what we were fighting for. And I thought he did. I grieved him. Told myself his sacrifice had meaning, that he had given his life for Avalon. And now, after all these years, finding him like this, I told myself I carried the weight of my choices. But seeing him, I wonder if I ever truly did.
You've got that look again, like you've seen something you wish you hadn't. Another piece of the king's soul reclaimed, right? What did it show you this time? The weirdness. The king thought it could save us. Merlin thought it could be controlled. Together, they were willing to tear the world apart to win. I was a prototype for Merlin's latest idea, immortality. Me and Seawall, the king's loyal pawns. Used and discarded when they found a better way. When they decided to go even deeper into their madness and turn our king into a monster. Fight back. Against who? Merlin? The king? You don't fight gods when you're just a pawn on their board. You endure. You wait. And when the time comes, you either break, or you're left to clean up their mess. That's what I do. What I've always done. Even if he didn't, he should have. He was desperate to win, and desperation doesn't leave room for conscience. Every scream, every scar, even if he didn't see it, he allowed it. That's as good as approving it. Seawall was Merlin's first attempt. I was the last. We could say I was lucky, but to say that would take a truly macabre sense of humor, don't you think? The monsters, the weirdness, the chaos, all of it leads back to them. We're left in the ruins of their grand plans, trying to uphold their ideals, fighting for what never was. It's time to bury all these fairy tales in a well-deserved grave. And that's what I do. Of course he'd say that. There's always a scapegoat and a convenient excuse for men like him. But it doesn't absolve him. Not when he was the one who unleashed this madness on all of us. He wanted victory, no matter the cost. And when you want something that badly, you stop looking too closely at what's being done in your name. And, after all, who said we were supposed to win this war? Who said we were supposed to survive? You've seen what they did, what he did. And that's not the end of the story. It's not the extent of their sins. Find the pieces of his soul. Put him back together, if that's what it takes. And then we, or I alone, if you decide to defy me, can end the cycle. Either way, we will get to his resurrection. I've seen it too many times to believe the cycle will be broken before it happens. But know this, once he's whole, Arthur's power, his mistakes, and his madness will all return. And when that moment comes, I'll be there. Whether to stand with you or step over you. The choice is yours. Just remember that when that happens, and you stand by his side, there won't be room for both of you. You cannot kill me, and I don't want to kill you. But if you want to fight me now, I'll grant your wish. That's the least I can do. Impressive hit. But it'll take more to defeat me. Don't resist. Just survive. I don't back down from a fight. Face me, and let's see who's the stronger one. All right, that's enough. You win. This changes absolutely nothing, but I hope you at least feel better about yourself. If you want the next piece, head to Connacht. The Menhir there is failing, and the weirdness is swallowing what's left of the village. You will need to find another artifact. The shield that was given to Palamedes by the king. He was one of the king's finest, a voice of reason amidst the madness. But it didn't save him or his legacy from what they had coming. Find the shield, and then, well, we will meet again. We'll see if your perspective changes.
It was supposed to be a reminder. The sword was never just steel. It was a symbol of what we stood for. Strength, justice, the will to carve a path forward. A weapon, yes, but also a promise. I wanted them to remember, to fight for those ideals, to uphold them, even when I was gone, even when there was no king left to lead them.
You actually went through with it, huh? Can't say I understand why anyone would willingly take on that mess, but if that's what you want, who am I to argue? Now, as tradition dictates, you have to kneel and I have to recite some words. In shadows and mud we slog. In burden and boredom we suffer. We guard the clueless, fix the hopeless, and carry the weight because nobody bloody else will. We're the lantern running out of oil, the lighthouse no one bothers to look at, the rope that snaps when you need it most, the hands that shield, mostly from our own bad decisions. By this joke of tradition, you are bound. By this nonsense, you are trapped. There, you're a keeper now. You can pick up your meals from Ruark at 6 a.m. We start training at 7 a.m. You sleep in the barracks. I'm joking. I know you won't stay here, but if you're up for some work, let me know. While we've been bickering about politics and playing at diplomacy, the bandits and every other kind of scum have been crawling out of the woodwork. Turns out chaos is a great breeding ground for parasites. I'd greatly appreciate it if you helped clean them out so we can get back the terrain we've lost.
inside. Step forward. After all, you know me well. Take off your mask now. It's your home. Welcome, little prince. Why the sullen look? Aren't you glad to see me? You finally made it here. It must have taken quite a long time. Because it is easier for me to address you this way than to accept that, for now, you are nothing more than a human. It is painful, but I must come to terms with it. So, you don't remember me. I'm afraid it might have something to do with the form in which I see you now. This body and soul, they're much different from what I expected. But to answer your question, I am the Weaver. And though it may be hard for you to believe, a part of you knows me all too well. It is a place where my prince was woven from the threads of pure potential. The Pale Lady was relentless in her desire to fulfill her vision of an offspring, modeled after those she watched so eagerly. It displeases me that you don't remember. I'd envisioned your return and our meeting quite differently. But now it all makes sense. Now I understand why you need that shard. Nothing remarkable. I simply exist in this place. That you ended up here is a mere coincidence. None of my kind have visited me in a long time. Yet here, I used to weave new Avalonians, shaping them according to the intent and thought that accompanied their creation. Now the thread of potential is much weaker, though it seems this place stirs to life again as the weirdness returns. She was a powerful Avalonian, one of the oldest. She saw and desired far more than the rest of her kin, who were suffocating in their growing decadence. To live a life where one can do anything, it loses all meaning. When she discovered the homelands and learned of mortality in time, everything changed. We were no longer the same. It was as though the mere awareness of such things altered the way we lived. We could no longer exist as we once had. It planted a new emotion in us. Fear. You will find traces of her here as well. The stone tablets bear her mark. I'm afraid I must admit that I don't know where she is now. It seems she retreated into her depths again after your king entered his eternal sleep. The true one, from which mortals are not meant to be awakened. Not like this. The shard of the prince's memory. It is shattered. Much like the fragmented memory of the king that lingers within you. I'd gladly speak with him, but something is preventing him from manifesting. I don't know all the details. What I do know is that after our prince was murdered by our kin, his potential, what you humans might call a soul, did not perish. The prince had been deeply fascinated by humans, and so after his death he manifested in one of them. That person was Arthur, the man who would one day become your king. He followed his mother's fascination. Much like her, he gazed upon the land of men. But he wished to go further. He wanted to experience being human. So he built the menhirs, meant to repel the weirdness. For us, the Four Dwellers, such a vision was both heretical and terrifying. Some of our kin could not forgive him for it. So, they killed him. It was the first time an Avalonian had ever slain one of their own. Arthur was a man, mortal like any other, but ambitious like few. But yes, his origins are far more complicated. This is a tale of two separate realities that, through a series of specific events, began to intersect, forming a single knot. Everything that has happened, and everything that will happen, is meant to decide the fate of that knot. And we, as you likely already know, have been pulled into all of this. Our meeting comes to an end. I regret how brief it is, but my role in your story was always meant to be insignificant.
There is no me. There is no us. Behold, the garden suffers. No point in pursuing further.
I hope you found what you were looking for. I rarely do. But I find other things, and then you can buy them. I hope